How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. For those of you who don't know, my name is Nicolas Matteo. I am a professional colorist with over 4 years of experience working on full-length features, music videos, documentaries, and today I'm going to break down how I like to color grade my social media campaigns with a secret tool that's going to take your footage to the next level, and the best part is that it's free with the DaVinci Resolve 20.0 update. If you're new to the channel and you need help with color grading and you need help with taking your visuals to the next level, then I highly recommend you leave a like and subscribe for more. So let's dive in. So the first thing I like to do with all of my color grades is I like to work in a DaVinci wide gamut color space. So in order to do that, I'm going to go into my effects tab, and I always have my color space transform ready. Now this footage was shot on Sony, and I like to work in my DaVinci wide gamut color space with the tail end of it ready for final delivery. And for social media campaigns, which is what I'm trying to emulate right here, this is the correct color space to work with on the output side. So this is what I get. What you see here is the color space that I'm going to be working in now. So the next thing I want to do is I want to start emulating a film print look while adjusting the contrast, the saturation, even the color density. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go into my Dehancer and I'm going to show you my settings for it. Now Dehancer is a third-party plugin. The link is in the description below for it. You do not need it, but it's something that I like to use. So to get what I want is I'm going to go into my print here, and you see that my profile is Kodak 2383. Color density is here. Contrast is pushed a little bit. The exposure is lower. And this is what I get in return. We are getting a lot of contrast, but we're also really pushing it over here. As you can see by the vector scopes, we are really pushing this image to the extreme as it is right now. So we actually want to dial this back, and we're going to balance the whole image next. You can see that we are very warm here, so I want to set basically a clean baseline before I start the creative work on this image. So that way I'm basically leveling the playing field, so everything that comes next is sitting precisely where I want it to be. And as you can see in my offset, I'm pushing more towards blue because we have too much warmth going on here. So this is what we get. To me, this is a lot better, but we still have some ways to go. So the next step is I really want to soften the image a little bit with a good contrast. So I'm going to go into my node here, and let me expand this. So the reason why I'm doing this softer lifted S curve is basically to give the image a contrast without crushing the shadows or blowing out the highlights. Even if I expand it, you can see before, after. Now my next step before we go into the secret sauce of this image is I'm actually going to be using the DCTL called mono notes to create that rich color density that I just absolutely love working with. Now the reason why I'm using this is basically to thicken up the colors in a way that feels organic, not just for being more saturated. These are my settings for the reds, the skins, the yellows, the greens, cyan, blue, even magenta. And this is what we got before, after. You can see how much darker but more rich these tones are in the flowers. And with this, we're actually really helping him stand out a lot more because we're taking a little bit of the magenta gunk out of his shirt and in his skin. But here's the secret sauce that I was telling you about. Now this secret sauce is going to be the chroma warper, also known as the color warper. Now color warpers are not anything new with DaVinci Resolve, but this version is so much better, and it gives you so much more creative control over the image. And it's crazy to me that this is actually free with DaVinci Resolve. So let me show you what it actually does. Before, after. Look how beautiful everything is now, and how much it actually makes him stand out still. It really gives the feeling of a beautiful meadow that this guy is playing the guitar in. So let me show you what the color warper is actually doing. So basically you take the areas that you want to work in, like let's say this right here, and you click it and you drag it in the direction that you want. And for me, I like to push the saturation while dialing in the different hues of his skin to the flowers, therefore giving him something more natural to work with while making everything else look so vibrant and gorgeous. And once again, this step is completely free with the latest DaVinci Resolve update. But we're not finished yet. The next few steps are honestly very simple. I like to create a power window with the radical blur effect that you can get right here. At the end of the day, this isn't just about creating a vibrant image, it's also about making him, the subject, stand out. So if I go into my effects tab right here, I have radical blur enabled, with this being the strength I have for it. But in the same note, I also created a power window, basically making the effect happen around the edges. And I also went into my curves and brought the brightness down a lot. So this is what we got, before, after. Now the next step is I'm actually going to go into my sharp node right here. Now the goal for this is to sharpen up the image a little bit, because to me, I feel as though it's a little too soft. So I'm going to go into my blur right here, click sharpen, and I'm going to go up here, click on highlight and A/B, and I'm going to enable this and I'm going to show you what it does. Now, if you want a strong effect without it looking too digital, then you're going to have to play around with the radius and scaling. Because if I bring this down to somewhere around here, and I don't touch anything here, this is what it's going to look like. Before, after. I say this is looking too sharp and too digital. But if I wanted to go back here and let's say take this scaling down to somewhere around, maybe somewhere around here, and maybe bring this up a little bit more, or in actuality just bring it back to somewhere around here, this is what we get, before, after. Now for my final step in this image, I actually created another node after my Rec. 709 conversion with Dehancer. Now for this one, I'm only using the film grain tool because it's stronger and you have more control over how much is being presented in the highlights, the midtones, the shadows, and even to the point where if it's a positive or a negative film type. And the reason why I'm adding this after the Rec. 709 conversion is because it gives the image a real organic texture that feels alive, but also so that the grain reacts to how it would be in the final viewing space. So basically it blends naturally with the colors and contrast that I've already built instead of getting warped by the earlier adjustments. I hope that makes sense to you. Do before and after. Okay, so let's roll the full clip. Creating this type of color grade would have been more difficult if it wasn't for the secret sauce of the color warper. It really took this image to the next level, and I highly recommend that you guys give it a shot for your next outside project or any campaign that you're working on. And for the rest of you, I hope the tutorial was useful. If you want to learn more about color grading as a whole, then I highly recommend that you watch this video right here.